War. It is not merely a clash of blades or the thunder of cannons. War is a struggle of minds, hearts, wills, and identities. Nations crumble, but ideas live. Leaders fall, but wisdom survives. 2,500 years ago, a man named Sun Tzu sat with ink and bamboo scrolls in the ancient land of China. He studied the world, human nature, conflict, fear, courage, victory, and failure. From all this, he created a work of genius, The Art of War. This book is much more than a guide for armies. It is a guide for life, for business, for relationships, for survival, for peace. Let us begin our journey. Chapter 1. Planning. The Foundation of Victory. Here is your emotionally expanded and deeply detailed paragraph, keeping the original meaning but enhancing imagery, storytelling, depth, and impact. Before a single sword is unsheathed, before armor clatters and war cries shake the earth, there exists a silent moment where everything is decided. The battlefield may appear empty, yet destinies are already weaving their invisible threads. In that stillness where birds hold their breath and the wind waits to whisper, Sun Tzu's wisdom emerges like a quiet voice in the darkness. A wise commander calculates before he fights. He does not rush like a fool blinded by arrogance. He sees outcomes while others only see possibilities. He weighs the hearts of his men. Are they united in spirit, bound like brothers? Or are they broken, divided, and doubtful? He reads the sky. Will the heavens bless their advance or punish their ambition? He studies the land. Does it welcome their feet or prepare to swallow them whole? He reflects upon command. Does he possess a mind steady as a mountain, calm amidst chaos, wise when confusion claws at every soul? And he measures discipline, not through loud proclamations but through silent order, through the trust that his troops move with purpose instead of reckless desperation. Here lies the emotional essence of victory. It is not fortune dropping from the sky. It is intention carved from thought, patience, and clarity. Victory is born not in noise or blood, but in the quiet spaces where minds do battle long before swords clash. The foolish commander, drunk on ego, rushes toward the flames without seeing the fire's hunger. But the wise commander, humble and reflective, walks with careful steps, thoughtful breaths, and cautious strategy. He knows war is not a desperate gamble. It is a deliberate choice, one weighed with the gravity of lives, honor, and destiny. Chapter 2. Waging War. The Weight of Conflict. War does not simply devour gold or drain the granaries of a nation, it reaches into the very souls of people. It consumes not only weapons, but hearts, not only supplies, but futures. When war stretches beyond its purpose, when it lingers like a shadow over the land, it hollows the spirit of an entire nation. You can hear it in the silent weeping of widows, in the trembling prayers of mothers who wait at windows for footsteps that will never return. You see it in the eyes of children, staring at empty chairs where fathers once sat, trying to understand why their world has been torn apart. Families sit near doors that remain forever closed, holding on to hope that has turned into a ghost. Sun Tzu tells us that the pain of war grows with every passing day, and a truly wise leader understands that the longer war breathes, the more life it steals. Thus he finishes conflict swiftly, not out of brutality but out of compassion. He takes the enemy's supplies, not because he is cruel, but because he knows that waste is poison, and the resources he preserves today will feed the survivors tomorrow. He holds a deep respect for every grain of rice, every drop of food, every tool of labor, because he knows that destruction does not end with armies. It reaches the cradle of every home and the heart of every citizen. Sun Tzu's voice echoes with solemn wisdom: win quickly, avoid ruin, and preserve what can still be saved. For war itself is never a triumph. War is a wound, a sorrow, a tragedy. The only true victory is the peace that rises from the ashes, the peace that lets families breathe again, that lets children laugh again, that lets nations heal again. War may crush bodies, but peace restores souls. Chapter 3. Attack by strategy. The victory of the mind. A truly great leader does not wake each morning eager for the clash of steel, nor does he hunger for the screams of war. He does not seek glory through destruction or reputation through bloodshed. His heart beats not for carnage but for resolution, peace earned through intellect, not violence. He understands that war scars not just the land, but the hearts of people, the dreams of families, and the spirits of nations. He walks the path of wisdom, not because it is easy, but because it is the only road that leads humanity forward. Sun Tzu gives us one of the most profound truths ever spoken. The highest victory is to defeat the enemy without fighting. This wisdom cuts deeper than any sword because it speaks of power beyond brute strength. It speaks of dominance without destruction. It speaks of conquering not through violence but through intellect. A leader's true brilliance is measured not in the battles he wins, but in the battles he prevents. A sharpened mind is deadlier than the sharpest blade. A strategy carefully crafted in silence can topple armies more effectively than 10,000 arrows. Thought is the true weapon, invisible yet unstoppable. A general who knows how to think does not need to bleed. His plan is his fortress. His foresight is his shield. His wisdom is his greatest army. He does not strike soldiers first. He strikes systems. He does not attack bodies. He attacks beliefs. He shatters the enemy by dismantling what makes them strong. He breaks their plans, not through brute force, but through anticipation. He breaks their alliances, not with threats but with careful manipulation and diplomacy. He breaks their confidence, without stepping onto the battlefield. For when a heart doubts, the battle is already lost. A shattered morale collapses long before the swords collide. A defeated mind cannot lift a weapon with certainty. Sun Tzu teaches that victory begins not outside, but inside the hearts of those who rise to fight. And then comes the eternal command. Know yourself and know your enemy, and you will never fear the result of 100 battles. This wisdom is not about arrogance, it is about clarity. It means understanding your strengths with honesty, your weaknesses with humility. It means studying your opponent not with hatred but with perception. Knowledge turns darkness into light, confusion into direction, chaos into control. Fear dissolves in the presence of understanding. Doubt collapses when faced with clarity, and war itself, is defeated when wisdom triumphs over violence. For the greatest conquest is not the destruction of an enemy's army, but the elevation of human intelligence above brutal instincts. This is leadership. This is legacy. This is victory without wounds. Chapter 4. Positioning. Preparing before the storm. Imagine yourself standing on a mountaintop while the world beneath trembles with anticipation. The armies gather like tides before a storm, shields glinting, banners fluttering, voices echoing like restless thunder. The wind moves gently, almost mournfully, whispering secrets of the chaos that is moments away. From that height, you do not merely see soldiers. You see fear, hope, desperation, and dreams all converging into a single moment of destiny. The silence before war is not empty. It is heavy with possibilities. Like the pause before lightning cracks the sky, Sun Tzu teaches that true victory is born not in the clash of swords but long before, in the depth of preparation. The wise commander plans so meticulously, so precisely, that the outcome is already locked into fate before the first battle cry is heard. His mastery is not loud. It is silent. His strategy is not chaotic. It is deliberate, calm, unshakable. He weaves plans as invisible as wind, yet as unbreakable as iron. His strength lies not in force but in foresight. Victory to him is not a gamble. It is a guarantee. Such a commander hides his vast power behind silence. He does not need to roar because his confidence speaks louder than noise ever could. He hides calmness behind the chaos, moving like still water beneath raging waves. He hides his plans behind shadows so deep that even the enemy believes there are none. His strategies are invisible to those who look only at the surface. Only those who understand silence can see the truth beneath. He chooses when to strike, not because he is pressured, but because he knows the exact moment when destiny bends. He chooses when to retreat, not because he fears defeat, but because he knows that every backward step can lead to a greater victory. He decides when to appear weak, for weakness can be the most powerful mask of all. He decides when to unleash his true strength, like a thunderstorm emerging from the calm blue sky. Every choice is deliberate. Every action is calculated. For Sun Tzu reveals a truth that echoes through time. Victory is never born accidentally. It is never stumbled upon. It is crafted, shaped, cultivated with endless patience and hidden effort. Victory is not luck. It is a decision. A commander wins long before the battlefield echoes with chaos. He wins in his planning, in his silence, in his understanding of timing, in his mastery of his own mind. And when the moment comes, he steps forward, not surprised, not shaken, because he has already chosen to win. Chapter 5. Energy and Momentum. Thunder in Waiting. There is a sacred silence that exists moments before the sky splits open with lightning, a stillness so tense that even the wind seems to hold its breath. That silence is not weakness. It is power gathering, coiling, storing itself for the perfect strike. Sun Tzu calls this strategy. True strength isn't shown in wild swings, reckless decisions, or desperate acts. It lies in patience, in restraint, in knowing when to release the storm. A soldier who attacks from fear collapses, but one who waits for the perfect opening can bring down giants. And this is not only the law of war, it is the law of life. There is timing in every choice we make, in every relationship we build, in every dream we chase. Opportunity comes like thunder, rare, sudden, decisive. When your moment arrives, do not hesitate. Do not whisper. Do not step lightly. Strike with the force of lightning, with the certainty of a storm that is prepared across the silent horizon. For those who master timing do not merely win battles, they shape destiny itself. Chapter 6. Illusion and Reality. Strength hidden in shadows. What the enemy observes is rarely the reality that lies beneath the surface. The truth is not worn openly like armor. It hides in shadows, moving quietly beneath layers of deception. Sun Tzu teaches that true strength does not announce itself. It disguises itself in silence. When you are powerful, appear fragile, for power concealed is power doubled. When you are vulnerable, display confidence, for even weakness, when masked, becomes a barrier the enemy fears to cross. War, he says, is not a realm of honest proclamations or noble declarations. It is a world built on illusion, shapes shifting like mirages in desert heat, shadows moving like ghosts through the fog of uncertainty. But this deception is not born from cruelty or wickedness. It is born from protection, from shielding your people, your homeland, and your future. A lion does not roar before it strikes. It moves unseen, silent as nightfall, patient as the moon's slow rise. The wise leader controls what the enemy sees, shapes what the enemy fears, and molds what the enemy misunderstands. Because in that misunderstanding, in that distortion of reality, victory takes root. When the enemy fights phantoms instead of truth, when he fears illusions more than facts, when he miscalculates because he was led to see falsehoods, then the battle is already won before a single sword is raised. Chapter 7. Maneuvering. Dancing between chaos and order. The battlefield is a storm of uncertainty, where nothing is predictable. The air trembles with the noise of clashing metal, the desperate screams of men fighting for breath, the swirling dust that blinds the eyes, and the choking fog of confusion that breaks even the strongest spirits. Fear grips every heart like icy claws, and chaos threatens to swallow the minds of those who stand upon that cursed ground. Yet in the midst of this overwhelming madness, one thing shines like a beacon of purity: discipline. When the world around him crumbles into disorder, when every direction seems to lead to death, the wise leader holds his soldiers together through calm authority and unwavering purpose. He does not move because panic forces him, nor because desperation pushes him. He moves because his mind understands what is right, what is strategic, what is necessary. He weighs every decision as though lives rest upon the balance because they do. He rejects foolish risks, knowing that bravery without wisdom is merely ruin disguised as courage. He refuses pointless sacrifice because true leadership is measured not in how many fall, but in how many he can save. And when he acts, he chooses the path no one expects, the quiet route beneath shadows, the sudden strike from silence, for it is surprise that cuts deeper than any blade, shattering the enemy's confidence before the first sword even touches flesh. Chapter 8. Adaptability. The wisdom of water. Water has no fixed shape. Its nature is freedom itself. Pour it into a cup and it gently embraces the cup's form. Let it flow into a river, and it becomes the river's endless current. Bring it to the ocean, and it becomes the vastness itself. Sun Tzu tells us to be like water, not rigid, not stubborn, but fluid, adaptive, alive. A plan that stands unbending will eventually snap under pressure, just as a tree that refuses to sway is torn apart by the wind. A leader who cannot adapt is destined to crumble in the face of shifting realities. An army that clings to yesterday's strategy will perish on tomorrow's battlefield. The emotional truth beneath this wisdom is profound. Adaptation is not a sign of weakness. It is the essence of survival. Life will not always flow in a direction we desire. Storms will break our expectations. Circumstances will shift without our permission, and suddenly, we will find ourselves forced into new situations not of our choosing. But the path is not to resist like stone. The path is to move like water, to bend, to curve, to change our course while keeping our spirit intact. For water does not fear change, it embraces it. And in doing so, it conquers mountains, reshapes valleys, and nourishes life. So too must we learn to respond not with panic or resistance, but with calm fluidity, trusting that flexibility is the pathway to strength and adaptation is the doorway to victory. Chapter 9. Observing the battlefield. Eyes of the heart. A true general sees farther and deeper than ordinary eyes ever could. While others look only at what lies on the surface, he peers into the very soul of the battlefield. He studies the land not just as soil and stone, but as a living force that can either shield or betray his army. He reads the mood of his men, sensing the unspoken tremors in their hearts, whether courage fuels them or doubt eats away at their spirit. He understands the morale of allies, feeling their strength or weakness long before a word is spoken. And he detects the fear of enemies, not in their voices, but in their hesitant steps, in their restless eyes, in the cracks that form in their resolve. He is a master not of noise but of silence. He hears truths whispered by shadows that others cannot even notice. He interprets the smallest sign, a nervous glance, a shift in the wind, the way the birds grow still before danger, as though it were a battle flag waving before his eyes. For Sun Tzu teaches that real truth does not shout. It waits quietly, revealing itself only to those who know how to observe. Victory is not granted to the loud or the reckless, but to the one who watches, listens, and understands the unspoken language of war. Chapter 10. Terrain. The world shapes victory. The world itself shapes the outcome of every battle. The land is never just terrain. It is a silent ally or a hidden enemy. Sun Tzu teaches that a commander must understand the language of the earth beneath his feet. Open plains invite swift movement but expose armies to the merciless eye of the enemy. Dangerous heights offer power and vision, yet punish the careless with deadly falls. Narrow passes force armies into vulnerable columns, where a single misstep can invite disaster. Deadly marshes swallow strength, trapping men in mud and despair, draining their will to fight. Confusing forests cloak danger in silence, hiding ambushes, secrets and treacherous paths that can lead the unprepared to ruin. Each battlefield requires a different strategy, a different mindset, a different form of courage. But the emotional truth goes deeper. Battle is not only shaped by terrain, life is shaped by environment. What surrounds you influences how you think, how you grow, how you survive. Stand in a place of wisdom, and wisdom becomes part of you. Stand in a place of chaos, and chaos seeps into your spirit. The ground you choose, whether in war, in relationships, in dreams, or in destiny, will mold your character. Sun Tzu reminds us, choose your battlefield with intention, because the land beneath you does not merely support your steps, it shapes your fate. Chapter 11. 9 Situations. The Journey of Struggle. War is not a single moment of chaos. It is a journey of the soul, evolving through unseen phases that transform human beings from fragile flesh into unstoppable spirit. It begins in uncertainty, where every step is surrounded by doubt, every heartbeat filled with fear. Then comes hope, a flicker of light in darkness, pushing the army forward. But hope alone is not enough. Frustration rises, desperation tightens its grip, and the mind wrestles with defeat. Yet this is where Sun Tzu reveals the truth. When soldiers are placed on ground where retreat is impossible, when escape is cut off and death is the only alternative, they awaken. Desperation turns into unimaginable power. Fear melts into courage. Hopelessness ignites into blazing determination. Their hearts beat as one. Their spirits combine like fire, and they refuse to break. Even the weakest army becomes unstoppable when they realize that victory is not optional, it is necessary for survival. When a human stands at the edge facing the abyss, something magnificent rises within. The sleeping soul awakens, and the impossible becomes inevitable. Chapter 12. Fire attack. Control, not destruction. Fire is not just a weapon, it is a force of nature, raw, unpredictable, and capable of swallowing everything in its path. Sun Tzu teaches that fire must never be unleashed recklessly, for a flame without discipline destroys even the hand that ignites it. A general who uses fire carelessly loses control of the battlefield, just as a human who lets rage, ego, or hunger for power run wild loses control of their life. Fire must be focused, guided, given purpose. Only then does it become a tool of victory instead of devastation. Emotionally, fire lives inside us as anger, as ambition, as passion. When controlled, these flames forge destinies, build nations, and turn ordinary men and women into legends. But when allowed to burn without direction, they incinerate friendships, dreams, and futures. The true art is not to extinguish the fire within us, but to master it, to hold it in the palm of our hand like a loyal beast, powerful yet obedient. For fire is not evil nor good, it simply becomes what we command it to become. Chapter 13. Intelligence. The invisible blade. The final and deepest truth. Spies, information, knowledge. Sun Tzu declares, intelligence is the foundation of victory. Why? Because knowing the enemy means removing fear. Because knowing yourself means removing doubt. War is not won by swords. War is won by minds. Emotionally, knowledge frees us. Awareness protects us. Insight guides us. The greatest victories require no blood. The art of war is not just a book. It is a soul speaking across time. It says, think before you act. Understand before you judge. Prepare before you fight. Adapt before you break. Know yourself before you know the world. Victory is not destroying others. Victory is mastering yourself. Sun Tzu gives us a path not of violence, but of wisdom. And wisdom is eternal.